Hangout only ends up to be 12 minutes long. You all know why.
Exactly. Now the Hangout this month's episode is titled "I hope this doesn't crash." If I disappear without, or if I freeze, if you just see me go like, and if I don't move, that's why.
Well, I'll tell you
is that for some of our audience, listening to this conversation is going to be like watching Vinyl Girl, and for the other part of the audience, they're going to be screaming at the computers everything we're getting wrong.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I'm not smart enough to know what it is. Oh, you plug it into this thing. Yeah, yay! I'm smart. I know how to do things. You feel helpless. You're just like, it's like the gods are punishing you. It's, what did I do? Why?
Yeah, if I ever attempt to do something like that, I'm just going to go to YouTube. But if I don't have a computer to do that, I'm screwed.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, just watch this YouTube video. How do I do that? My computer doesn't work.
If you use a computer to play video games, you have to be an expert on how to use them.
Yeah.
Sometimes it feels like you're doing more to fix your computer than actually play games on it.
And it's more oriented toward, like getting you to buy stuff in the game so that they can make more of a profit on it.
Microtransactions, loot boxes, and
don't get us on that topic. Do not. Get
well, again, because I'm out of the loop. Because I haven't owned a console for years. When I first heard last year, it was the Star Wars game that everybody blew up.
That was a big one, yeah.
And I heard about that, and when I first was reading about it, the loot box thing and the microtransactions, I thought, isn't that for mobile games? Like, do they do that for like real games now too? It just
they make their money where they can.
Yeah.
But there are times where they actually withhold something in the main story.
Yeah.
Well, same day DLC. Yeah. Same day DLC. The day it's let out, they just go, here's some extra stuff you can buy for it. It's like, no, that was supposed to be in the game.
Yeah. Well, and with the recent Star Wars game, everybody was pissed because they put Darth Vader behind a paywall or something.
Essentially, yes.
Or like massive one of the signature characters.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that.
It's like, it's nothing sacred. Well, they showed the first trailer. That's it for the ads.
But I was just thinking, I remember at one point Sony applied for a patent for in-video game advertisement, and we were thinking, what, product placement or on loading screens? No, they were talking about popping your live content to show you an ad. I never went through with it, but I was just also thinking, remember like when TV first started and like shows would get sponsors and the whole show was basically an ad for that sponsor?
Oh yeah. Mm. And he goes from, when I have writer's block, I enjoy a smooth Mitch Chesterfield. And then he goes right from that to next week on the Twilight Zone.
I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm like, I don't even care, man. Just throw ads everywhere. Make your fucking money. Just take my money. You're going to get it anyway.
Just make a fun game.
The future that scares me is, what was the movie? I can't remember which movie, but the ads were in the mall as you were following the protagonist. And so it's just like
Minority Report.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Thank you, Lauren. So yeah, they'll track you with the ads no matter where you are in the world, so you can't get away from them.
And they do a retinal scan on top of that, so so the ads are even supposedly personalized, which is bullshit. I mean, they're going to sell you anything they want to sell you.
Yeah.
Based on your search history, would you like to see big bottom bitches? No, cancel the ad. Cancel the ad.
Hey, wait a minute! I got my kids here.
I mean, how far away are we from like Futurama, where the ads are beamed into our dreams, into our head?
You wake up and you're like, I want a Coke. And you're watching a rerun of an old show, you almost feel like you're being gaslighted. You're like, was that a McDonald's? I don't remember them walking by a McDonald's in Seinfeld.
And
I don't remember Subway being around during the Andy Griffith show.
Yeah, exactly. We don't want John Wayne to sell beer after he's dead. That's not. we're not down with that. It's not. Well, they even did. Remember? Does anybody remember when UPN brought back the Ed Sullivan Show and they had a CGI Ed Sullivan in like 1998, 1999? It didn't even last an entire season, but I mean, it was like a variety show, and I think the performers were new, like it was fresh, modern day acts, but they were introduced by a CGI Ed Sullivan, and it was so bizarre.
Was it a really big shoe?
Yeah, I know, but he's dead.
At least with Space Ghost from Coast to Coast, that's an animated character. You can do that constantly. It doesn't matter. Or like the Muppet Show, it's just puppets. Anyone else can be puppets that can do the voice well enough. But
I'm sorry, are you saying they should make a puppet out of his corpse? That's just tasteless.
An Ed Sullivan Muppet. That's a totally different thing.
Well, hey, what's happening with Carrie Fisher? With what's his name who played Grand Moff Tarkin?
Peter Cushing.
Peter Cushing. I mean, it's happening. It's happening in front of us. And does anybody really hear an outcry? I don't.
No. Well, the thing. Go ahead.
Puppet thing. I think would be a great title for that. Would be The Dead Sullivan Show.
Oh, now you're talking. If that had been the title from the beginning, I think everybody would have been behind.
Yeah, we would have been on board. Yeah, he's dead.
I get it. He's dead.
We're all on a joke.
Yeah,
we could bring back we could bring back President for Life Francisco Franco, and of course bring up Chevy Chase. President Francisco Franco is still dead, but here live on our stage.
Here he is now,
dead on our stage.
Dead on our stage. That sounds like a Crypt Keeper line. That sounds like a Crypt Keeper line.
Dead from New York.
Dead from New
York. Just the entire cast of SNL, they're all dead. Just
as opposed to the audience. Rim shot. Thank you very much.
Okay, who's going to dare to bring back John Belushi?
Oh boy.
Oh,
well, I think Jim Belushi would object to that. He's like, wait a minute. My whole career is because he's not available anymore. You're not gonna do an end run around Jim Belushi, no sir.
Okay, Belushi,
I mean, it's bad enough to live in somebody's shadow. Now you got to live in somebody's corpse.
I thought I was out of his shadow when he died.
And I thought things smelled bad on the outside.
And then we're going to bring back tauntauns?
Oh my god. Does the Tauntaun have a Force ghost? Like, does he appear to Luke and go, you couldn't turn back, could you? You knew how cold it was. You had to keep
if the
going,
Tauntaun is a Jedi.
Why couldn't the Tauntaun be? Maybe
hey,
Luke
the Force doesn't belong to the Jedi. It belongs to everyone. It belongs to everything.
That's right. That's right.
It's Tauntaun next to you.
Yeah. At least you died of old age, you old bastard. I froze to death because of this prick over here.
Yeah, the Tauntaun is haunting Han Solo now. You forced me out there. You told me. You know that I was going to die out there.
Why did you cut me open like that?
You went from like one occurrence to being all over the place, and one of them photobombing, and walking through as the speeders coming up on those stormtroopers.
Yeah, these aren't the droids you're looking for.
Yeah, where George Lucas said, now I finally have the technology to clutter up my finely composed frames with a bunch of useless junk. It was kind of an elegantly directed movie, and now it's just full of crap. There's just all this stuff on the screen that has no reason to be there.
There's so much happening in every frame. It's so dense.
Yeah, it's so dense. Might have been College, the one that's perfect except for the fact that he does blackface in it. Where, like, there's that one scene where you're like, God damn it, why is this in here? Everything else about the movie is perfect. So when you key out the green, you still have a green sort of glow about you, and people are like, oh, that looks like shit.
Okay, so by the way, I went to the internet and found through Google search, found a website called Wikipedia. This is wiki.
I was going to say.
According to this, Tauntauns are native of the snowy plains of Hoth.
Oh, thank God we know that now.
So they were pressed into service. They were captured and enslaved by the rebels.
Domesticated. That's what we call it. Domesticated.
Yeah, wild animals on a barren planet. They were domesticated in a hurry. Commander Skywalker, go domesticate some Tauntauns.
So he's a Tauntaun whisperer?
Yeah. Whoa, girl.
Are these the Tauntauns they were looking for?
These are
I'd
good
like
Tauntauns.
to think that they actually used their droid slave cast to domesticate the wild animals.
Oh God, I have to domesticate some tauntauns now. I have to go get them. Come on, R2D2.
I'm an interpreter, not an animal wrangler.
I'm not very good at telling stories.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Those tauntauns won't listen to a word I say.
I speak many languages, but I don't know tauntaun.
I don't think these creatures are intelligent enough for me to communicate with. Of course, I thought that about Master Luke at first, too.
He's very intelligent for a human.
For you, yeah.
I just want. For some reason, I just find a funny thing of Luke getting super pissed at that. Like, fuck you, 3PO. Like,
I thought we were friends. We were through some shit together.
Jesus Christ, Luke, calm down.
Fuck no, I'm sick of this shit. I'm the hero of this motherfucker.
I went to a swamp.
3-7, code word KR. He's like, oh, jeez, he did it again. We're still.
Oh, that's why I love
it. If you remember seeing
backing away from it like it happens all the fucking time.
Yes,
there
exactly. It goes again. You know, I saw Kylo the other day with his shirt off, and he had an 8-pack.
With the shirtless scene, the first time I saw it, my first thought was crazy billionaire money. I'd make this scene with him doing the pull-up exercise from the Arrow.
Yeah, well, because he holds the pen, and as long as he signs the bills they want to pass, that's literally all they care about.
If they can actually pass bills, which is a tax plan,
if they can manage to get enough of their own people in line.
And Portman speaks out of both sides of his mouth with a facility that Paul Winchell would envy. But
and he speaks in it Chinese too, so you know.
Yeah, really.
Ni hao.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I have hope because I feel like I have no choice. Like if I didn't have hope, I would sink into despair because
if you didn't have hope, you probably would move.
Yeah. What choice would I? I mean,
well, if you don't have hope, you always got Crosby. I'm sorry, I had to go with that.
He had to, but he was so rotten to his kids, though. I mean, come here, you little bastard.
But there was
he was not a good father. Anyway,
bit into a current bill regarding redistricting, where they require that every district maintains constant population plus or minus 1. Now, somebody tell me how you managed to do that.
Wow.
I mean, people die, people move, people,
You have a kid and you have to redistrict.
Get to be 18. Yeah, people get to be 18 years old and they get to vote. I mean, how do you execute something like that?
It's ridiculous.
Hello.
Exactly. Yeah. Execute them. Sorry, Joe. We have one too many this month.
We went goth again, didn't we?
The Democrats redrew my district so that and because of that, I now have a Democrat member of the House of Representatives. So it's like, so it's like, yay, but you know what I mean?
I think Steve and I actually have the same representative.
Oh yeah, is it Delaney?
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, same congressional district.
And we're like an hour apart.
District buddies.
Yeah, that's the thing. I just looked at my district maps and stuff like that. I think for congressional, for the Congress, it seems fair enough. But when I went to the state representatives, it's like, oh my God, there's some snakes and just strange shapes in there. And so
Yeah.
And you can't look at these districts and not look at them and immediately know, oh, this is not how they should be. You should not have a district shaped like this. Like it should be relatively rectangular or something that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. Or determined by county borders or something like where the district falls roughly into the same region of the state.
Yeah, it's just now some of these are just nonsense.
It's ridiculous.
I can
where all of the plots look like the death of democracy.
Speaking about similar regions, as much as I like Steve, I'm sure that the people who live around him and the people who live around me are two totally different demographics.
based upon what Steve has said in the past about. I mean, hell, look at his riffing on mail call back in the day. Crying out loud!
Yeah,
I mean, it's ludicrous.
Going real back.
I live in the super red part of this blue state of Maryland, where the new map went into effect, and we got Delaney, who is vastly preferable. But it's like, I can't. It's like, but I can't enjoy it because it's from gerrymandering, and I know that if the districts were drawn more equitably, that I mean, we would have to have a Republican representative because this is a super red part of the state.
My empathy can't allow me to feel good about this. Oh, I feel so dirty.
My congressman was so bad. My congressman right now is so bad that the Trump administration turned him down.
No, that's okay.
He was the one. He was going to become the drug czar or something like that, and then they discovered something about him.
Wow.
He's like, nope, can't do it.
Wow, boy. Wow. What did he do?
I was gonna say,
what could he have done that was so bad that the Trump guys were like?
Well, he was like the driving factor behind a bill that basically made it easier to distribute opiates.
Oh, that could be a problem.
Or like deregulating the pharmaceutical industry, essentially. Which is like
when you're the opioid addiction candidate.
Yeah,
that might be a problem.
Yeah, this is my congressman. His platform is fuck regulations.
Oh, well,
that's it.
That's
charming.
I mean, that is in line with the current administration, but I guess even they have certain lines they don't want to cross.
Almost sounds like an anarcho-capitalist, and I had a hang up with one.
Buffalo is so blue that I voted for 12 Democrats on the and one was a tie. They had to, so
yeah.
That's. But on the other hand, Carl Palladino, if anybody knows the guy with the baseball bat who curses a lot, and was on Trump's short list for Supreme Court. It's from here, and he just got kicked off the school board, so we're good here.
Meantime,
because I was a little kid at the time too. I wasn't like super into anything except like Batman and Star Trek. How times have changed.
Wearing on my Batman stuff for you, Steve, including my Batman leggings.
Oh, look at those.
I wish Little Anna was here because if maybe she'll be in the Chrissy Winters Hangouts because when she sees my leggings, she fangasms when she sees my leggings.
Yeah.
I love your leggings. I'm just subtle about it. Everything in rock music, it was stolen from Holsten Stravinsky anyway. So
I can believe that.
And if not Holsten, probably Wagner.
Why is this Mozart?
By Borodin. So many of these well-known popular tunes were actually written by the great masters. I did that just for you. You're the only person who know it, what I'm talking about.
Fun monthly hangouts. We started out talking about computer problems. We ended up talking about how pop music rips off classical music.
It's not as strange as when we started out talking about like Trump and masturbating with his tiny hands, and then ended with like how rapey dolphins are.
That's true. That was a pretty eclectic one. That was a pretty eclectic one.
Is Trump a dolphin?
Oh, he's not.
Trump isn't intelligent enough to be a dolphin.
I agree.
That was what I was going to say. He's not nearly smart enough to be a dolphin. Dolphins are clever. Dolphins convince people that they're nice. It's only until you get to know the dolphin that you realize what a jerk it is.
Yeah, Trump can't do
I'm
that.
going over Christy.
Yeah. All right.
So long, and thanks for all the fish.
It had to come to this.
What a perfect ending. We can count it.
I'll just hold it like this, as if it's handheld.
You're the DJ. You're the DJ, and John is the MC.
Wiki.
Hi, everybody. You caught us while we were discussing some old school hip hop, apparently.
Don't you like to be in the pre-show chat? Don't you?
Cosmic convergence.
Yeah.
Well, I've never heard of cosmic convergence. What sort of new wave hip hop? What?
It's just cosmic.
You're not cool enough to have heard about it yet. Before the announcements would start in the morning, sometimes they would play music over the loudspeakers, and they got in just so much trouble because they played the Tom Petty song "You Don't Know How It Feels," and there's a lyric in there that says, "Let's get to the point. Let's roll another joint." And our old boy, people were none of the students gave a shit, but some of the teachers were like, "Oh, I can't believe it's a drug reference. Oh my God,
this is a drug-free zone."
Yes, exactly. A drug-free school zone that includes songs.
Don't bogart that joint, my friend.
Well, in that same vein, for my prom, I didn't go to the prom, but the prom song that my class voted for was Wasp, "Fuck Like a Beast."
Lovely. Super duper.
They as you might expect, they overrode that song. New Jersey, man, 1986.
That's beautiful. Oh,
when I worked in a grocery store, at one point, all the employees put together a petition to change the radio.
No more.
Somebody was like, "Hey, I'm putting together this petition." I'm like, "Sign, please."
Yeah.
Because I remember the one year at Christmas, like 30 minutes into them starting the Christmas music, I'm like, "Oh, please, I can't get through this month."
Yeah.
It was it was the worst covers you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
They were half yodeling everything.
Yodeling?
Well, it sounded like that. Like, you know how sometimes Christmas songs get so overdone, people feel like they need to present them in a different way.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to do something creative.
You mean like what Fergie did with the national anthem?
Fergie the shit out of it.
Hey, she was trying something. It didn't quite work, but good for her for trying something.
Didn't quite work.
It didn't work at all. It didn't work at all. It was not. It was even worse than when Roseanne tried to sing it bad.
Roseanne, the best version, of course.
Start out, "Oh, say can you see by the pawn shop's dim light what a swell 38 with its pearl handle gleaming in the gun catalog is a telescope sight. I'll snatch it up quick while the sirens are screaming." And you can guess where it goes from there.
So it's more true to life.
Yeah.
For the modern American state.
And it finishes, "Say, don't you try to take
modern
guns away from me. For the right to shoot at you is what I mean by liberty."
One thing that reminds me of George Carlin had about how we had the only national anthem with rockets and bombs in it. However, if you ever listen to if you ever look at the lyrics of the French national anthem, they are watering their fields with the blood of their babies.
If I recall correctly, La Marseillaise is pretty violent, is it not?
It's Rise up, children of the motherland. We are going to kill the fuck out of those foreigners.
That's in the third verse.
It's not about the foreigners, it's about the aristocrats, and exactly. we got out of our system. We did that. Been there, done that.
And that's the national anthem to remind future generations this is what the fuck can happen.
Yeah, and we still have guillotine, so be careful.
Oh my, yeah. It is interesting though how violent. I mean, our national anthem is pretty violent, and then our neighbors to the north have the loveliest patriotic national anthem, where it's just like, oh, we love our country so much.
Yeah, but Canadians aren't like the rest of the world. They're nice.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
As I recall, which is why Kevin Smith thought that to have Alanis Morissette play God in Dogma, because who else could put up with as much shit than a Canadian?
Find a nice Canadian lady; she'll be good.
Mexicans.
Okay,
yeah, they have to put up with all the same shit, and it's hot and they're poor.
Yeah,
really, that is a good point. Yeah.
But the cat that's on the strip there makes me think of Black Panther, and that was good.
I saw it last night.
I didn't see it. I can't go to the movies, so shut up.
Yes,
I haven't seen it yet myself. So
it's the sex scene between T'Challa and Killmonger. Oh my god!
Yes.
Oh,
so amazing.
I should be apologetically.
It's because it's America, and
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
yeah. Sorry.
No, hey, we forget sometimes too. I mean, well, white people forget.
Yeah. Yeah.
White people forget sometimes.
It's easy to forget how much we hate black people here.
Yeah, sometimes it just slips my mind.
People like Laura Ingram, who has the unmitigated balls to say, "Shut up and dribble."
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Hello.
Who the fuck are you? You host a show on Fox News. Who are you to tell anybody else?
I'm willing to bet she wasn't even a cheerleader.
Oh.
Well, and especially now, it kind of brings into mind the Republican convention in 2016 when she tried to putting her arm up like this.
Oh yeah. That was memed on the.
It was just the camera angle. Come on.
And the Führer says, "Wie is the master race?"
Yes.
Trumpers, Uber.
That's the new national anthem. You just wait. They're going to sneak that through. They're going to add that.
You
to
Asians are weird.
And proud of it.
I'm proud of it. I'm wearing a TARDIS on my head.
Get it out of the way early,
Toddlers with tattoos. Bam. Oh, my new business.
There you go. I wasn't asking for your permission.
95% of all people regret having children. True fact.
Yeah, 90. Yeah, and what percentage of facts are pulled out of somebody's ass at the time they're mentioned?
This is the same problem that like trans people get for like. I've heard from trans people. Yeah, in the surgery, they're like, "Are you sure you want to do this? How soon do you want to do this?" And they'll say, "Yesterday." Already yesterday.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
And they still make them wait 3 months.
Yeah, like look, if whatever that person wants to do, wherever they want to live, it's not affecting you. Respect it. You don't even have to agree with it. Just
what if they pee near me?
Again, it was a community largely Christians, and it was like, well, I'm a Catholic and you're not, so we're not gonna start that fight again.
That was actually a surprise for me. That was actually a surprise for me growing up. It's like, wait a minute, you don't drink wine at church? I hate the wine at church. Oh my God, can I go to your church?
That's an option.
Well, who likes Mogan David to begin with?
Well, it's like that old story about how you can tell the difference between Catholics and Protestants. Catholics talk to each other when they catch each other at the liquor store.
Speaking of disrespect, is that a landline in the background, Joe? Come on.
Oh, absolutely.
Another way.
You know why? When Hurricane Sandy happened, I had no cell service, but my landline worked.
Yeah, so
there's
take
that,
that, John.
So people were able to talk to you during a disaster? Ugh, the worst.
You had to take phone calls on top of everything else?
Didn't have to, got to.
Taking phone calls wasn't the worst part of it. Taking spam phone calls, robocalls.
Yeah.
There you go.
Look at you caring about helping people.
Yeah, I'm silly.
Never mind the fact there was probably
signaling cuck.
Stop trying to make us all feel bad by talking about what a great person you are.
Yeah, I often wonder about if the whole concept of playing hard to get was essentially what we did to justify sexual harassment.
Probably.
Yeah. There's probably a bunch of stuff that we did that to justify sexual harassment.
It's like
we're gonna have to work our way out of.
Yeah, I look back at myself 15 years ago and just going, "What the hell, dude?"
It was the media, so no one could blame you. I mean, it's like, oh man, she's saying no because she really wants it and something like that. And that's the media we had. My God.
I look back and I'm relieved that I wasn't worse than I was. I mean, I was above average as far as I was not like as much of a pig and a chauvinist and a jerk as a lot of other people were, but I was still I look back at shit that I said or thought or whatever when I was in my early 20s and think, God damn, what a fucking prick,
I was in a fraternity. I've got you beat.
And that's my thing.
I mean, fraternities. I mean, that's breeding ground right there.
Marco Rubio at that town hall about gun control the other night on CNN, where he said, but you don't realize that if we pass this proposed assault weapons ban, that would ban all semi-automatic weapons. And everybody applauded. They're like, yeah, let's fucking do it. Like, what, is that supposed to stop us?
Right. Really, all they want them for is to defend their culture and heritage.
Yeah, but don't ask too many questions about what they mean by that. They said they should rename the AR-15 the Marco Rubio because they're both far too easy to buy. I mean, that is, I don't care if someone gave him that line or not. That's a great line.
Because I tell you what, I don't want a Democratic wave. For a while I was saying Democratic tsunami. I want a Democratic deluge, like biblical deluge.
Yes. I want Republicans to be building an ark.
Exactly.
God damn
it.
In
Kansas.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that arc works great because if they build it the way they're supposed to build it, it'll sink.
Perfect.
Anybody remember the Wyoming boys and girls? What happened to the Wyoming?
Blissful Melancholy, my arch nemesis.
No, get rid of some of your shyness there.
I thought your arch nemesis was all of atheist YouTube.
That's true. Well, that's true. But all of atheist YouTube and Blissful Melancholy.
Been doing.
We've just
bullshitting.
We're just gonna keep. Now that everybody can watch, we're just gonna get. We'll talk about Geek's fucking hat some more.
As we always do.
I know. Actually, hi. By the way, hi everybody watching. Welcome to my Patreon hangout. I'm here as usual with my some of my Patreon patrons. And hey, hi.
Is that DJ Dotify?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've just managed to get on for half an hour. I'm just actually de-scuzzing the bathtub.
Well, I'm glad you can multitask and you can.
I'm seriously de-scuzzing the bathtub.
That's amazing. Oh. Oh man, I love this old house. I seriously grew up watching this old house. It's gonna be great.
Sounds like Steve and I were using the same TV.
Yeah. Oh man, this old house, New Yankee Workshop, the Woodwright Shop. I used to watch that shit every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
That's why
Did you ever wish you had enough money to do all those renovations?
Oh God, I know.
I wish I had the skill to do it. I'd love to learn, carpentry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I wish I had the money to get somebody else to do the renovations.
Welcome to the club.
I don't know. I live in an apartment, so I had to pay rent. So it was like, and I don't have a choice of when the reservation happens. They just give me a 48 hours notice. It's like, okay, well, I just have to remember to keep my pets locked away or something like that.
You're getting a new bathroom on Wednesday. Be out of the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will they put me up in an apartment or a hotel or somewhere? Anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve, I noticed you're drinking out your Star Trek mug. I'm also drinking out the geeky related mug as well. This is the Mega Man Buster.
Oh, look. That's so cool. It's like his little wrist thingy.
Yes, exactly. And it's all to like 20 ounces or so. And so, yeah. I got it.
It's probably really funky inside. He's been wearing it for years.
The only thing is, if he's drinking a caffeine beverage, by the time he bottoms that thing out, we're never going to hear the end of it.
Yeah,
really. Going a mile a minute about anything that comes into his head.
I just want to say thank you for making a video game reference that I got. You reached back far enough that I remember that.
And by the way, we were talking about my hat, so yes. And one thing about my hat, it's multifaceted. It can turn into a rain hat, but its original state is, of course, the pirate hat. And I bought it just because I didn't have a pirate hat. But the multi-use of it is what also convinced me to buy it. Yeah. And for little honor, I must show off my leggings because I'm leggings made by Christy Winters. And here I have Pac-Man leggings.
And now my hangout is complete.
Yes, the leggings have been shown.
Yep.
I do like how that has that has just organically become a regular feature of our little show here.
It's an organic feature of anything he's on, as far as I can tell.
And I love. Here's what I don't. We're not going to spend the whole hour talking about some random geek's various accoutrement, but I mean, I love that I didn't have a pirate hat. as the reason that you got like you're like, I don't have a pirate hat.
I'm thinking all the hats I don't have. I'm thinking, Jesus, I'm going to spend all my money on that.
I don't have a football helmet. Like, it never occurs to me.
Meanwhile, with all of this going on about pirate hats, not once has he said, "Arr."
Yeah.
Arr, matey.
I'm not even drinking rum. I'm drinking like Irish whiskey instead.
Stereotypes are ugly things.
And no peg leg.
No, and no hook either.
He only showed us the one leg. We don't know.
No, I saw both legs. He's not committing to the role.
Commit to the bit.
Commit to the bit. I wish we could just dispense with these close-minded prejudices and stereotypes about pirates, that they all have peg legs, that they all have parrots on their shoulders.
I walk with a cane. Does it count?
Yes. No, I do have a sword. It's in the corner. I showed it off before.
That's not a cutlass. Doesn't count.
True.
Boy, these are some pirate purists in here today. It's not a cutlass, sorry. The blade is too wide and too long.
I
got a peg leg.
Would an Oldsmobile cutlass count?
Oh, and the captain's name was Jeffrey
Cutlass. What are we going to call our new car? How about we name it after a tiny pirate sword? That's a good idea.
Better than calling it a woman, I guess, or naming it after a female name. But we already talked about that before, haven't we?
Yeah.
Well, we could call it an Alara or an Azera or an Aurora or any one of 100 other things that start with the letter A, too many of which have exactly no meaning.
Or a Mercedes.
Just give it numbers.
Well, that was the name of Daimler's daughter, was it not?
Yes, it was.
Oh, okay.
The Mercedes Windy.
Just named the car after his kid.
Men are so weird. We are that kind.
Yes.
I'm just sitting here in stunned silence.
There's that stupid insurance commercial where, you got this car. It's so great. You named it Brad. So you loved Brad. And then you followed him.
People can name their cars after male names as well. Nothing wrong with that. We should do that to hurricanes as well.
That's true. And there are
Well, now we got hurricanes as well as hurricanes. So
hurricanes.
But we still have guillotine somewhere. It's okay.
That's your answer for everything. I like your answer for all those things.
Get the guillotine.
That time will come.
I know. How cool is that Counterpoints knows Chelsea Manning? That's like, that blew my mind when I first saw that. I was like, oh my God.
I really disagree with either of them politically, but I love them so much.
Yeah.
It's not so hard to watch. Two conflicting emotions.
They're not far enough left for you?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, who is? I mean...
Yeah,
some random geek is.
You can't really go... Yeah, some random geek is totally in my realm, I think.
I have gone phone calming, yes.
Yes.
And I don't mind that either, yes.
You lousy pinko.
I mean, I want capitalism to come to an end. I mean, can we give her a rent, or can we give her private property rights? I mean, what's wrong with that?
Yeah,
maybe eat the rich just a little bit.
Food poisoning, please. No.
Have you tried kill all the poor? And, to get the economy to work? And they're like, no, we've of course not. He's like, well, have you just put the numbers into the computer? Just see if it'll work. And they're like, no, we're not going to even entertain the idea. And he's like, well, if are you afraid of what it'll say? Like, it's hilarious.
Ladies and gentlemen, take my advice. Pull down your pants and glide on the ice. Take care, guys.
See you, Lord.
I have leggings, not pants. So, hey, those watching at home, there are 2 spots open now in the Steve Shives Patreon Hangouts. If you're a patron of Steve Shives, go to his Patreon page.
For once, we are not too. Let's enjoy being not 20 in the Hangout.
Yeah, I know.
I said I really enjoyed the entire series, but all the kind of hardcore Trekkies are absolutely savaging it online. It's really hilarious to watch.
Every time they do that, every single time.
Every new series, there's a splintering.
They did something to the uniforms, and there was a woman, and she talked like a whore.
Yeah, it's like, what are all these women doing talking on my Star Trek show? Answer the phone like Uhura and be happy that you're on the show.
It's like they're flying on at 10 times the speed of light, for Christ's sake. I mean, why do you lose your shit over the way it looks?
They're the true snowflakes that they always blame others to be.
Space
That's
flakes.
it.
My favorite complaint about the show from Trekkies, though, because like all the other complaints about like the diversity in the cast and blah 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 like that, they've complained about that stuff before, right? But there were a few who were complaining about the spore drive that the ship had and how unrealistic it was. Oh, and I thought, okay, what show have you been watching for 50 years where like it's realistic? Like, yeah, but the spore drive, come on, that's just ridiculous. Yeah, well, so is flying a ship through a wormhole like it's a tunnel. Like nobody has ever said that's how wormholes work. You can't just open it up and drive through it like a Holland tunnel.
It's a bypass. You gotta build bypasses.
I mean, Star Trek technology is all just made up. There's no such thing as a warp drive. There's no such thing as Deep Space Nine style wormholes. There's no such
dilithium crystals. That's
dilithium
just
crystals.
Atoms of lithium. That's not a thing.
It means nothing. It's just made up nonsense.
But you got to respect the canon. Oh, Jesus Christ! How many times have I heard that?
You have to respect the made up stuff.
Didn't they say the exact same thing when the Next Generation came out?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. People hated the Next Generation until like the third season when it finally caught
And
on.
now it's the favorite of most people.
Well,
to be fair, it was crap until the third season.
In all fairness, the first
record
season of the Next Generation was awful.
It was pretty
Riker
bad.
didn't have a beard. No beard, no good.
It's true. He had the show had to grow the beard for it to really come into its.
I don't know. You give me Patrick Stewart. I'm happy, to be honest.
True. I just want to say the picture I
saw
have
Patrick
in my
Stewart
wall.
live. I saw Patrick Stewart live recently on stage with Ian McKellen doing a play.
I hate you.
That is awesome.
It was a crap play, if it's any consolation. It was blatantly just two. It was just two old lovies massaging their egos.
But that's what you come to see. You come to see Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart. It's Magneto and Professor Xavier. Still have not seen a single episode of Game of Thrones yet, but I'm sure it's good, and I'm sure I'll enjoy it once I watch it.
It should be called Game of Boobs, to be honest.
I heard that
I've heard that before.
It's basically people explain to me it's D&D with boobs, and I'm like, I can see the appeal of that. Yes,
I love it, but for real, so much unnecessary nudity. Why?
Yeah.
Well, you could call it legitimately Game of Dicks because there are some shown, and most of the people are.
Yeah, but
even the women.
You don't
are.
see some, and you see a lot of boobs.
Yeah. It's not porn. It's HBO.
You see at least one.
One does not equal equality. Well,
you see one dick. Come on.
But here's a dick with a hat. You've seen them all.
Yeah. They're pretty interchangeable. I mean,
I do like Last Samurai, even though Tom Cruise should not be the Last Samurai.
Yes.
Tom Cruise should not be.
An actor.
Tom Cruise should not be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Period. I mean,
let's have no death threats against Tom Cruise, please.
Why is Tom Cruise?
It's not a death threat. She's going to go back in time and make sure he never existed.
Yes, non-existence. It's like murder.
It's prevention.
Erasing him from history, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like an abortion. It's not a murder. Why isn't it allowed?
I need to see more of like Forrest Whitaker just because he's Forrest Whitaker. I need to see more of Andy Serkis because Andy Serkis had a great time in that movie.
Yeah.
Have you seen Forrest Whitaker in The Last King of Scotland?
I have not.
There were no black people in Scotland ever. No.
It will really blow your mind. The performance in The Last King of Scotland.
Yeah,
he just becomes Idi Amin. It's really quite frightening.
Yeah, didn't he win the Oscar for that?
I think so. Yeah,
he might have.
I think so. Best supporting actor, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I can't find my copy of The Last King of Scotland. That's annoying.
That's why I keep my movies in alphabetical order.
Yeah, me too.
That's really irritating. Oh, and you know what? I can't find The Last King of Scotland, but I found The Last Bloody Samurai.
Yes.
I would make fun of you for owning that, but I have some shit on my shelves too.
How embarrassing is that?
I have You Don't Mess with the Zohan.
Oh.
French comedians and put a lot of quotes around that aren't sexy.
Quotes around comedians or quotes around French?
Comedians around both.
They're not funny, so we shouldn't claim them as French. I agree.
Well, I mean, French comedy fans embrace Jerry Lewis, so there must be something going on there.
Something
Germans embrace David Hasselhoff. There's always something for someone.
I don't question why the Germans embrace David Hasselhoff. I mean, who wouldn't want to embrace David Hasselhoff?
Is Hasselhoff?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
The look on your face.
I'm just saying, Knight Rider buys a lot from me. That's all. I can forgive an awful lot for Knight Rider.
I just had to re-swallow some sick then, Steve. It was horrible.
I'm sorry.
I was thinking he was telling us something about himself that I hadn't known.
You join our Hangout, you support my channel, and this is how I repay you.
Hey, Leto, can I ask you a quick question about France?
Yes, you can.
Are we, like, Britain, right? Are we kind of just seen as a complete embarrassment and a joke after Brexit? Is it like, stupid British people, what were you thinking? And why Boris Johnson?
Why is Boris Johnson, though?
Explain Boris Johnson.
Please, why?
He's just a complete, he's just an arse.
What's his name? The pig fucker.
Dave Cameron.
About that. No, he did not actually fuck a pig, but he did put his genitals into the mouth of a pig.
Yes, it was kind of yeah, it was kind of like bestial necrophilia is a new low for British politics, isn't it? You know?
If we heard about like that's his like initiation to secret society, I'm sure George W. Bush has done some crazy stuff for the secret society that he was a part of, and we haven't heard about them yet.
What did he?
But he did it with a steer.
He was Skull and Bones.
The #1 search term in the UK right after the referendum was "What is the EU?" So
yeah, true, very true.
I think it's quite
That's true.
to talk the intelligence of the British public because they are pretty stupid.
They're informed.
I agree.
But you don't tell them that.
Yeah, I agree. A better strategy would have been to educate them.
Yeah.
No, just treat them like dogs. Oh, you're so good.
Well, that kind of reminds me of some of the things that go on in America with the UN. They're like, "Oh, the UN is violating our sovereignty." I'm like, "No, they're non-binding resolutions."
Yeah, they can't violate our sovereignty.
They talk about the UN Army troops coming in and taking over America.
Yeah.
Who the fuck are these troops? They're mostly American. And our allies.
Super soldiers.
George Soros would find an army. He would fund an army.
Well, you know,
Antifa super soldiers.
The thing about those non-binding resolutions is I mentioned this on one of my videos a couple months ago. Like the U.S. voted against a non-binding resolution that basically amounts to Nazis are bad.
Yeah,
and we should, and please take measures to stop Nazis from getting popular again. But it's all just suggestions. It's just like a non-binding resolution. And
hold on, let me provide the correct response to that. Of course. But Canada gave us Bryan Adams. We need to talk, Canada.
I don't want to talk about that anymore. Okay.
Okay. We established if Ryan Reynolds is Canada's forgiveness for Bryan Adams and Justin Bieber and Celine Dion. You gave us Ryan Reynolds.
Shut up about Bryan Adams.
No. The Canadian government has apologized for Bryan Adams several times.
So yeah.
And then they were shitting on Bon Jovi, and I was, for fuck's sake, I like Bon Jovi.
I like Bon Jovi too.
Keep your mouth off Bon Jovi, god damn it.
Can we just make a new rule that people I like in entertainment are not allowed to be assholes?
Yeah, I know.
Yes,
not you. Oh, God.
That's what we have to learn in the 2018-2017 world, is that your heroes are just as human as everyone else, and they might be monsters.
Okay, shut up with the communism. What the fuck?
Hey, don't read Marx and leave us alone, okay?
I haven't read Marx yet. I need to.
From each according to his ability, to each according to his need. Right now, you need to shut up.
Marx is overrated. You should read the Bread book, Jonathan.
Oh yes, I'm listening to the Conquest of Bread by Peter Kropotkin. I'm listening to the audiobook. Yes.
You have the audiobook. I want it.
You have the audiobook.
It's on.
That's no. For
It's
real,
on.
no.
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. So we had our commie talk. We had our Brian Adams talk.
Can't believe I'm letting you two just spread this commie pinko propaganda on my channel. Although
they have a Stalin boner, and it's it's gross. And I don't think Danny is.
Well,
like
I don't
that.
know. Young Stalin was pretty fucking hot. I mean, have you seen that?
Yeah, but it's like,
I know he did some terrible things, but come on, he was a good-looking dude.
That beard, that scarf, ooh, that hair.
Yeah, young Stalin was pretty. But looks interesting.
He had so much starvation to cause in his future.
You make deals with Saudi Arabia? How are you no different than America?
Okay.
We're not.
We're
not.
a bad influence. We're a bad influence.
We sold $13 billion in arms to the Saudi government in the last year.
Yeah. Canada needs to stop hanging out with the United States so much.
Build that wall.
Yeah. Canada needs to build a wall to keep us out because we're ruining Canada.
I'll contribute to that Kickstarter.
We can sell a few arms to extremists. It's not a big deal, right? I mean, it's been a while since I saw Gladiator. Maybe Guy Pearce was in it. I didn't know.
Hugh Jackman. He had a single.
Hugh Jackman. Maybe he was in it. Maybe, yeah.
He was the dancing slave.
Maybe you just weren't entertained.
I was. I was not
exactly, and it won Best Picture.
I was just going to say I was not entertained when it won Best Picture over Crouching Tiger. That's
that
definitely
was
not entertained at that.
Nowadays, you get to watch that movie just for the end, where Mel Gibson gets eviscerated.
Yeah, you're like, oh yeah. No, I read this as a happy ending now.
I felt that way as I was watching Passion of the Christ.
Parodies of Rambo movies with Jesus.
Oh boy.
Jesus 2, The Return. It was so funny.
I heard there was I think it was on In Living Color.
Are you going to love one another, for fuck's sake?
Jesus is back, and this time he means business like that.
Yeah, but hiring people would cost money, and capitalism doesn't let them do that.
Well,
yes, seriously.
Yay, we contaminated John.
I should read the rest of the Wikipedia article before I start saying something. I should be better than Sargon.
This is the internet. You don't need to be accurate.
Yeah, you don't need to be accurate. You just need to mean what you say.
I should be better than Sargon, babe. Everyone is better than Sargon. Yeah, no, not everyone, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, if you have ever admitted that you've made a mistake, you have already cleared that bar. But no spoilers, except made up spoilers only. So if you're going to spoil something in the movie, make sure it's something that's not actually in the movie.
Oh, the sex scene! I mean, all those characters.
Sexplanation after sexplanation.
I was hoping that Tony and Cap would reconcile, but I didn't see that coming.
I mean, Doctor Strange and Iron Man, they're bearded brothers. Come on.
It was
as opposed to Band of Brothers, or
and
Thanos was the fifth style on that was the.
Actually, that's what you need to have happen. We need to get the entire gang together and put together Garage Band.
There you go.
There's your Garage Band of brothers. There you go.
I did not see this coming when the first words that Groot ever speaks that are not "I am Groot" were "Hail Hydra."
He's in this rebellious teenage phase. So it's like,
that would explain it too.
I can say though, in all honesty, that I've been so bursting to talk about this with anybody, and not enough people have seen it yet, right? So I've actually my dad is staying with me, and I talked to my mom on the phone. I'm like, "Are you ever going to see the newest Avengers movie?" And they're like, "What? What is it?" I'm like, "Okay, let me just tell you, that will happen." And they're like, "Okay." I'm like, "But yeah." And so I get to like vent to them, and they're like, "You sound like a crazy person," but I need to get it out. So yes, I've been actually finding people who will never see it just so I can tell them what happened and talk about it a little bit without ruining it. Yes.
Yeah.
Wait. I want to go back to Steve's thing. Wait a minute. Are you telling me that Groot is an ironic Hydra?
He's an ironic. He's not really Hydra.
Ironic Hydraism.
He's more of a hydrandra.
Oh boy.
He's an
and while we're at it,
Avengers. It's okay.
That's kind of reminds me of something. A lot of the jokes in Black Panther.
Yeah.
Where it felt like every time the movie started to get kind of cliche, there was someone to sit there and go, "What the fuck are you people doing?"
Right.
Are you done yet? Are you done?
Yeah.
I swear to God, I worked at a gas station when Iron Man came out in the theaters, and I was listening to the radio, and Black Sabbath's Iron Man came on, and the guy, he seriously said, "Hey, they're making a movie based off this song," and then I had to tell him,
"There's a little bit more to it than the song." Completely reboot it in a Prime universe.
Yeah, because DC doesn't reboot enough.
Well, I'm not used to being attracted to anime, but like, okay.
And it's the same shot. It's one of the Muppets shooting the other.
It's a very obscure callback. A very obscure callback for film buffs.
Why did Miss Piggy shoot at us? Yeah, but I want to wind back to origin stories for a second because because I decide what we talk about. It's my channel.
Be quick. Somebody mute Steve. He's getting boring.
Talk about what we want to talk about. He's getting kind of
rebellion in the hangout. We're all gonna mutiny.
I need to turn this over to Christy. She knows how to run a goddamn hangout. She'll keep you fuckers in line.
Everyone gets a chance to talk on her hangout.
Yeah, look at Geek. He is the captain now. He's got that.
So yeah, I think Steve, you had something you wanted to say.
You hear that? You hear that?
The iron fist and the velvet gloves.
I wanted to say because
1980, 5 big ones. Think about
$5,000.
$5,000. Yeah.
$5,000s of dollars.
$5,000s of thousands of dollars.
$5,000 is a millionaire.
Yeah. I was just thinking about the Zelda thing, how the games officially aren't part of any official storyline. Mm-hmm. Star Trek fans would kill each other over that. If Paramount came out and said, "Oh yeah, technically Star Trek: The Next Generation and Star Trek: The Original Series have nothing to do with each other," like Star Trek fans would have killed each other.
Enterprise has the best ending.
It is a good ending.
Yeah, I get it.
It is a good ending. I remember the day after the first episode of Deep Space Nine premiered, like in my area, I went to school and my math teacher made a reference to it in class, and nobody but me got it. Nobody but me had watched the show. And I thought, oh man, this is going to be my life. Like none of the other kids had any idea, because he quoted Cisco when Cisco makes the deal with Quark that, I'll release Nog from custody, but I want something from you first. I want you to promise to stay on the station. And my math teacher made some reference to that. And then he paused for us to recognize it, and nobody responded. And he was like, "Didn't anybody watch Deep Space Nine last night?" And everybody was like,
to the world of the inside joke.
Yeah. And I was like, I watched it. But so I thought, this is it. I'm going to be this person. You know?
Then you found the internet.
Yeah, thank God I found the. Oh, there are other people who watch nerdy shit just the same as I do.
So Steve, you saw it, you just let him hang, really?
Yeah. He wasn't my favorite teacher. I liked him, but I wasn't like super loyal to him. I wasn't going to cross my peer group for him because me and Ashley binged it on Netflix last year.
Ashley and I.
Ashley and I have an English degree, by the way. I went to college for English for writing. It's true. Hi everybody. We were just having a fun conversation about as always about
Jonas.
Yes, this is why it's so important to get in early in the Hangout before it goes on live, so then you can see some ass shaking.
Yeah, exactly. That's why the public doesn't always get to see the ass, but people will show up early before we go on the air and see the ass.
Personally, I think he's trying to sabotage your Patreon with that comment.
Now just watch. Somebody's going to watch, and he's going to, report the video after this.
There's ass in it.
Too hot for TV.
And yes, I am totally slut-shaming John.
Guillermo del Toro was doing like a script, like some kind of like a mad scientist, I don't know, but Guillermo del Toro spent days drawing concept art, really beautiful art, and he had like a rough draft of the script already. And when he pitched it to the studio executive, going through all this thing of what this incredible movie was, the studio director's like, okay, the studio executive's like, and then he said, you know what? Who we think who I think would be good for the scientist for the lead role? Tom Cruise. Guillermo del Toro thrown out of the room.
Seriously?
Tom Cruise is so desperate to get into the Marvel universe at this point. I guarantee.
Yeah, but he's going to get in as who?
There's nobody left
at this. Yeah.
White Panther.
We don't want it anyway.
White Panther.
Maybe Simba the White Lion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Because
Scientologist Panther.
I think your geek can appreciate the Simba the White Lion reference.
Yeah, Kimba the White Lion, actually, but you were close.
Yeah, it's
whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's nobody left for Tom to play. Like all of the major characters have been taken. And
good.
Squirrel Girl.
No, Squirrel Girl's been cast.
How dare you try to spoil Squirrel Girl by giving me Tom Cruise?
Sometimes taking the more obscure characters can work. It's working in Deadpool.
That's true.
Hold it a second.
Although I think
Girl.
Yeah, Squirrel Girl. Yeah, that's going to be a TV series, right?
I laughed my ass off. I cried my ass off.
I almost threw up laughing at that movie at one point.
Yeah, and the post-credit scene is worth the price of admission alone.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, talk about exercising one's demons.
Sounds like a funny sight gag. You see a gym that says "The Gym from Hell," the tagline being "Exercise your demons."
Actually, didn't
somebody should do that?
Someone's got
what's his name in Beetlejuice use that? I think he's had enough exercise for now.
I think that was a brothel.
Nice fucking model. Yeah.
He saw it, and I'm like, well, I know you don't want to give out spoilers, but what was your impressions? He's like, I don't even know that I could give you my impression without being that it's in and of itself being a spoiler. And I'm like, really?
Yeah.
And I saw it, and I'm like, oh, I totally get it now.
I mean,
and again, I was struggling to tell my friends. I'm like, just see it. It's good. But I can't tell you because if I tell you what I think about it.
Yeah. Like the next day, I was just like, "Have you seen Infinity War?" No. Okay, I won't spoil it. Have you seen Infinity War? No. Okay, I won't spoil it. Have you seen Infinity War? Oh no, I haven't seen it, but I've read the spoiler, so you can go ahead. Oh, okay.
Yeah. My question about Infinity War is very simple. How the name of George do you follow it? I mean, what do they do in part 2?
You make the next movie all about undoing that ending.
No shit.
No, the next movie is just going to be 2 hours of Thanos worrying about farming.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, everything turned out great. It's just like I said it was.
Oh, killed half my crops. God damn it.
Well, there's this
fucking Infinity Gauntlet.
God, these Brussels sprouts are shit. Crap that Star Trek. I mean, every time they go to a prime timeline and a prime timeline and a prime time, I mean, they're past their prime there. You know what I'm saying?
I'll deal with it.
How do you show the trauma of literally half the universe being killed? I mean,
one person at a time.
One person at a time. If we can reach one person.
For fuck's sake.
I'm both impressed and disappointed at the way Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has decided to deal with it by just skipping it entirely and not even coming back until next summer. Just like, fuck it. We're coming back in June. That's it.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to say in Infinity War is I hope, just in the entire MCU actually, that they never introduce the fucking alternate universes and dimensions. I just hope that stays completely out of the movies because I never.
Well, they got to integrate X-Men somehow, right? Well, that's what Captain Marvel's going to do. There's going to be a collision of realities. I hope they throw in the giant squid.
Could it be an astral kraken?
Just like in the Solo movie. I just see the Solo movie. It's pretty good for like the adventures of young Indiana Solo in a space western.
Young Indiana Solo. I love it.
I hope Laura's brother with Anakin be in such a Mary suit and with her. Because it's always the women that bother people, but never the men. Anakin is the worst Mary Sue in all that franchise.
That's true. Like
Anakin and Luke are both Mary Sue.
We have too much of a problem with Rey because again, I was ready. Like if they had said, okay, she's got some connection somehow, so she's special.
I don't think it's important that she has any connections. I think
I like that she didn't.
Last Jedi. It's important that she's nobody. She's just
no, but see, that's bad though. I think it's bad.
No, I don't think it's bad. I think it's okay that she's a nobody, but yet still has special powers and stuff like that, and special connection with the Force. It works like again, anyone can be a super powerful Jedi.
Star Wars fight.
Rey at least was Force sensitive, okay? But Finn was not, and Finn beat him too, and that's what really killed it.
Trained soldier.
Don't worry, everyone now has so many midichlorians, it doesn't matter.
He has no training in lightsabers and no Force power at all.
Well, they do get training with melee weapons.
Problem with that.
Yeah.
Maybe midichlorians becomes a horrible disease and it kills off most of humanity.
Well, but no,
that's why we don't have that. That's why
when all the Jedi were slaughtered in Episode 3, the midichlorians just left and they just went into everybody else.
But in the Star Wars extended universe,
I don't think it was written to be scary.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it was written to represent what the bad guy is today in our day and age.
Yeah, a white.
And I find it very funny that it's a little white boy who is always whining and shaking his
and a very bad case of anger control.
And that guy from Iron Man 2.
All villains from
that guy from Iron Man 2.
Which one?
Oh my God.
Everybody remembers that guy from Iron Man 2.
The Mickey Rourke one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Wash.
I'm sorry, but Rourke was just plain stupid. I mean, he makes a play, it doesn't work. He makes a play, the same play, only bigger, and it doesn't work again. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but Mickey Rourke looks so badass in that movie.
I agree. Mickey Rourke is badass and look badass in that movie, but yet I just felt that I have trouble remembering Iron Man 2, but I only seen it once. Yes,
I can tell you something.
Whiplash and the whiny girl.
French don't speak French. They are from Quebec and they speak with the accent of Quebec. So there's no way there are cops in Monte Carlo.
That's funny.
It's shitty people being shitty to each other, and there was a scene
like
in
Always Sunny, only not funny.
Exactly. Well, it's funny, but not in the way it's supposed to be funny, I guess. And there's
from like Law and Order. Okay, you had the law, the cops would do things. Then you have the lawyers. They understood the separation. Although my eldest stepson is a lawyer, and he said that even he said a lot of stuff on Law and Order used to make him cringe because it's like
I can imagine.
courts don't work that way.
Yeah, I actually been to a courtroom for like my business law class in like high school. It was just like, your objection, Your Honor. And it's all very polite and cordial. There is no objection or like
no grandstanding
or Ace Attorney or Phoenix Wright. Objection.
Crime shows are fucking stupid. Generally.
Yeah,
I love them. I love them. Don't get me wrong.
too.
I love crime shows. Okay.
The
I'm
movie
not going to watch that. The movie was awful. So.
Oh boy.
I love you, wife.
The third season got like just like off the wall, like crazy. You know, it just loopy, but it was still fun.
The Attack of the Killer Carrots.
That's the one that everybody references. Like, whoa, what were they?
You guys probably mentioned.
Oh, it was Rob Schneider, the TV show.
Have
Rob Schneider?
That's all I need to know.
Well, and they make a serious movie out of it. I don't get.
Oh, we have another ass. Please stop showing up your ass.
If you look at,
I always wanted to have a like an animated short where Smith and Skeletor have a insult off.
Yeah,
an incel off.
Insult.
Skeletor ain't no incel, buddy. It's all off camera, but I guarantee you, Skeletor.
This phone is never dry.
This phone is never dry.
Oh, Skeletor boned a lot of people off screen.
Hey, perfect.
No pun intended.
I'm beating them off with a stick. Trust me.
Again,
I've got no problems in that area. Trust me.
You had a lot of girlfriends up in Canada. You don't know them?
You've never met my Canadian girlfriend.
Which I would say, I take this opportunity to say fuck incels.
Yes, we can all agree there.
No, don't fuck them.
Don't fuck incels.
Don't fuck incels.
If only they could go fuck themselves.
Go fuck yourselves.
Well, see, the funny, I mean, the incel people is just a TFLers rebranded.
Fuck one another.
Do what everybody else does when they do what everybody else does when they can't get laid.
Watch porn.
Just watch porn and jerk off. You're fucking baby.
I mean, hey, sex toys. There are male sex toys. I will keep it in the sleeve and not show it off.
Geek, you rake.
I love it. I will keep it in the sleeve and not show it off.
Okay, earlier in my younger days, I didn't call a prostitute.
Yeah, this is why sex
workers don't have to end up with the trash of the mankind.
Prostitutes are people in the way that incels are not.
Yeah. There should be a union of sex workers, and part of their contract is we're not doing incels. We're just not doing it.
Actually, but they always have the right to say no, just like anyone else.
I am all for keep your money. Keep your money.
Apparently, for incels, prostitutes don't count.
So even in their own ideology, they're not gonna like pay for sex and oh gosh.
No, because it's not the sex. The problem is their entitlement. They're mad because women don't want to fuck them. Look like shit. They have no skill. They are terrible people.
And you have bad hygiene too.
I mean, when you look at them, a lot of these guys.
That's what I was aiming at when I said they look like shit. I wasn't talking about ugly or beauty. I was talking about hygiene.
Yeah. Well, as somebody who looks like shit, I'm deeply offended by all of this.
Hey, wait a minute.
Oh, you.
I'm not offended. I got beautiful hair, so I feel fine.
Oh, shut up! You're beautiful.
That guy Dwayne, whatever, because sadly we look a lot like each other. So
The Rock.
Dwayne now, is it?
Figure this shit out.
You stole his woman.
Women aren't people, and we shouldn't listen to them ever.
Yep.
Well, they're usually.
Whoa, you're making a big jump saying they're people. Let's slow down.
Active is the black side of the NRA, if there is a black side to the NRA.
They've all been shot.
That
already.
is worth a look.
Well, you know what the NRA calls black people, right?
Targets.
I had him. I
say
actually
Bob because that's his name.
I had him
in the NRA.
I had a meeting with the black part of the NRA the other day, and he was the nicest guy. I mean,
and Johnny Cash. What was it Johnny Cash was saying about like I shot the guy dead just to see him die?
I shot a man in Reno.
Yeah, he
was expressing remorse.
Folsom Prison Blues.
His most famous song is about him murdering a guy just to see what would happen.
You know what? I shot a man just to watch him die, and then I got distracted and I missed it.
Well, you know, one of my favorite.
Well, yeah, but he didn't say motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
He was always very polite about his.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go to an extreme, how about Bohemian Rhapsody? Mama just killed a man, put a gun against his head, blah 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 blah. Yeah, and it's
I can sing the whole song.
Now.
Well, obviously, in that case, the gun was a penis. And
it's metaphor. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you have to know how to read
Freddie
it.
Mercury, I believe you.
Yeah, you have to know how to read it. I mean,
and what do you mean she pulled your trigger?
Yeah, pulled my trigger. Oh, hey.
So is the gun the penis or is the trigger the penis? Which is it?
Sounds.
No. The trigger is the prostate.
I see. You don't pull on the prostate. You press it. You rub it around. You can't. She rubbed around my trigger, and now he's dead.
They're both penises. It's called sword fighting.
Yeah, you know what? Chicago is the murder capital of the Chicagoland area, my friend. And you can try to distort the facts all you want.
They have the strictest gun laws. Never mind, the neighboring states have the worst.
When I argue with people about the wage gap, and they're like, "There's no," and I'm like, the statistics are put out by the Department of Labor like every year. You don't, you know, or the
labor, so feminine.
The United Nations, yeah, exactly. Or like the United Nations.
Spend on a Steenbeck film editor just syncing up sound and video.
Yeah.
Although there could be fun involved in that, but that at times, again, this is why I've got a bald spot.
Wait a minute, you got a bald spot because of that, not because of like male pattern baldness genetics?
Experience counts
You're
for more than
spoiling
genetics,
the
man.
story, dude. Come on. You know about when the legend's better than the real thing. Print the legend.
Exactly.
This is the legend.
So talking about recording in the 21st century, I've moved now to I'll record on my phone, I'll edit it on my phone, add in graphics, produce it, and then upload it to YouTube, all on my phone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's welcome to the future, right?
Yeah.
It's all it's all on a device in your pocket.
I'm not coordinated enough to do that.
I feel like if I did that, I would be like, no, this is too far from being a job now. I can't just do it on the couch while I have something.
I want something big enough that I can manipulate it rather than just this little teeny tincture, and I got to go like this and like that.
It's a tablet then. Do that on a tablet, and all those apps are on the phone are also on
a tablet. I can almost see.
Reminds me of David Lynch saying, "How can you watch a movie on a phone?"
I do that all the time. I got used to it.
You can't see any detail on that little fucking phone.
That's why you bring it closer to your face.
You hold it right up to your face.
You have to remember, though, like me, he's old.
Yeah.
And I up what the definition of legal blindness was, and I've realized I'm actually by the day because it's like 2200 is the legal definition.
Yeah.
So I'm actually legally blind. I didn't even know that.
Wow. So does that mean you can get people to drive you around now?
Maybe.
Now the Jim Gaffigan sketches are like playing in my head. Since when did being blind became a legal issue? There are people pretending to be blind. We should make it a legal issue. Can someone be illegally blind?
It's these undocumented blind people that if you're gonna not be able to see, then you should do it the right way.
or we're gonna take your children away.
Yeah, or we're gonna take your children away. It's only fair.
It's only fair. What crime? You lose your kids.
I would say, how about we treat the Mexican border like we treat the Canadian border? Where it's like, are we worried about undocumented Canadians crossing the border?
No, Canadians are stealing shoes. Shut up.
national security risk.
There are no good shoe stores in Buffalo. I will tell you that right now.
But basically, that Trump sees everything as zero sum. Either you're getting screwed or you're screwing someone over, and he cannot.
We all know how good he is at screwing.
Well,
probably not very. I mean, have you seen his hand?
By the tariffs.
I think Stormy described it as standard.
That's not what you want to hear. That's like.
And then corporations are people, so no, they don't.
Well,
wait,
but
you mean flesh people, flesh piles? No, they don't.
Flesh people. Through my Republican phase when I was like a preteen and a teenager, you're like, there are these assumptions like, well, Ronald Reagan was a great president. Like you just assume that. You don't even think about it. It's just a fact. It's an axiom. And I remember, weirdly enough, one of the first cracks in that view for me was I was watching the stand-up special Eddie Murphy Delirious, which was taped in 1983 in the middle of the Reagan era, the beginning of the Reagan era. And he started talking, and it was taped in Washington, D.C., and he name dropped Reagan, and the audience booed. And then someone in the audience yelled out, "Reaganomics sucks." And Eddie Murphy says, "Well, tell us something we don't know, motherfucker."
Things. We are not things. We don't need a use.
Well,
if people don't have to work, how do they prove they get to deserve to live and not die?
That's what I was thinking.
Happening.
Pretty much, yeah. It decided to be a jerk about it and say, "I'm going to wait till he finishes that sentence," and then Google was like, "And we're live."
One problem with Tales of Princess Kaguya, at the end, there's like, and so like this happens, like, wait a minute, we didn't know that at all, and it came out of nowhere, and you're just like, okay, that's a thing now. It was in the original fable of the Tale of the Bandit Color, so it's like something comes out of nowhere. I'll just say that.
It reminds me. I don't know. I haven't seen the movie, but whenever something like super important happens out of nowhere near the end of a movie, I always think of the first time I read Macbeth. And you're at the very end of the play, and someone says, "Oh yeah, by the way, Lady Macbeth is dead. She killed herself." I'm like,
really?
Since when? Like, well, that seemed kind of important. Jesus,
Shakespeare, not that great writer. He forgot to oh yeah, I probably should mention that.
Bill, what happened to Lady Macbeth? Oh shit.
Let's take this plot line with just one line of dialogue. There you go. Audience will have to deal with it. They can have fan theories about what happened off screen, off stage.
He killed the sequel.
Oh well.
I knew Lady Macbeth was the sequel. Come on.
Okay, I'm gonna briefly interrupt because little Arno is watching. She messaged me on Facebook.
Hello, hi, sweetie.
Hello. Please give her everyone my best to everyone. And so from little Arno to everyone else, mwah, mwah. I have to do 2 kisses because she's French. I've learned this from messing it up before. And 2 kisses is metric.
You messed it up, and she said, "No, 2 kisses."
Well, someone else corrected me, and it's like, "You're right, no, it was Christy." She said, "You have to do 2 kisses. It's French."
Metric kisses. Kisses, I like that.
They have a kiss named after them, so they would know. I mean,
yeah, but that's
Can you change French kisses over like Google Hangouts? I don't know. I haven't tried.
You need the 3D option.
Yeah, you need some extra attachments.
Finally, I think we need to censor your camera if you do.
You need one of those things that people buy, like the Pornhub or something, I think.
Oh yes, corrected the feature on those Pornhub videos. Yes,
they need to. We need one of those, and I don't think Google supports that. At least not.
I'll guarantee you Google doesn't.
I already have my sex toys anyway. I'll keep it in the case again.
It looks.
You naughty boy.
Looks like a Dalek with the top taken off. It's like just or like a Dalek was on a diet.
Okay, little Arno just messaged me again. She is not sending French kisses.
Okay, well, I didn't mean to suggest that she was.
Well, she's French and she's sending kisses. So in a way, you could.
I mean, she's a girl and she's my friend, so technically.
Steve, in the immortal words of George Carlin, remember, you can prick your finger, but you can't finger your...
I like to think of members of Congress like going to Carlin and saying, "Sir, what words may we not say?" we will tell the FCC to rule out anything you say, sir. Surprisingly, I don't think I've ever had a long conversation with Eli about magic, probably because he knows way more than I do about it, and it would just be boring for him because I'd be like, did you like David Copperfield? and he'd be like, oh God. You know,
I didn't look like going on about for an hour about that. And like, if I were to talk to Eli about magic, I'd just do the whole time like, yeah, you know, like it probably wouldn't be a very good conversation. He's like, no, I'm trying to tell you about hand techniques. I'm like, do it again, do it again.
No, do it again. Make the coin disappear.
Make it come out of my eye.
He has a second coin. He's just hiding a second coin. That's how it switches hands.
Well, can I say what I want?
I want
about Mel Gibson?
Sorry,
because you just went over that with the 7 dirty words thing.
Oh yeah. I have to say. Go for it.
No, the 7 dirty words.
Yeah, 7 dirty words. Yeah.
Those are just what I have to say about Mel Gibson.
Lovely.
Well,
Lovely.
I mean, since Maverick, let's say he devolved a bit.
Yeah. Let's see.
Terrible.
Shit. Piss because he's always drunk.
Shit, piss, fuck, motherfucker, cocksucker. You know.
It's well, he said something derogatory about the breast implants of the girlfriend he threatened to murder, so that counts.
Yeah. And I think Thomas Paine once said that the real punishment for Jesus would have been to keep living.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and have to listen to all the apologists, and B, listen to all the counter apologetics.
I think
Gene Hackman. The Conversation.
Oh boy, yes, I love The Conversation. We were talking about that yesterday because our next movie for late seating that we just recorded yesterday is The Godfather, and Conversation was Coppola's very next film after The Godfather.
Yeah,
that's a fantastic movie.
That you want to talk about a situation where just the vocalization and just the way a phrase gets turned makes all the difference.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to remake it called The Hangout, right?
Exactly.
So anyway,
I don't see that many underseen movies. That's that aren't on RedTube.
Talk about one of those.
Pornhub. There we go.
Hey, Pornhub has a safe for work tab as well. Just a random thought.
Okay.
But by the way,
but I don't work, so okay. That's my excuse. I don't work, so I don't use that particular tab. I use. Wait a minute. Did I say use other tabs?
To bring it around, there's an interesting book about Joe Esterhaus and Mel Gibson spent like 6 weeks living together to try and develop a movie, which apparently they both went crazy and binge drank the entire time.
You don't say.
Joe Esterhaus apparently is the same brand of Catholic who would have known from his movies.
Of all the common things I'll see from time to time, it's the switching bodies I'm completely done with. It's just like, it feels like no one can ever do anything good with it.
Yeah. It always goes somewhere gross.
All the same things, and you're like, come on.
Yeah.
What you mean, like something similar on? I think it was a Twilight Zone reboot, where a guy goes back to witness what's going on with Elvis Presley, and except that Presley ends up taking a direction that is completely incorrect. He ends up killing Presley and assuming the identity.
Oh wow!
That's interesting.
You're doing Elvis wrong.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, any way you do Elvis is doing Elvis wrong. I never cared for the guy, but that is my trip.
Baba Hotep is an excellent way to do Elvis. Elvis is like still alive in a retirement home with a giant growth on his pecker.
Yeah, that's the only way to do Elvis properly.
any Bruce Campbell is the right way to do Bruce Campbell. What you're saying.
Campbell,
if you're not like screaming in pain or just going oh and just over exaggerating your emotions, that's not anime and stuff like that. Steve, since I just mentioned anime, Wings of Aoyamas
Since you just did mention anime.
What a common character. Anyway, you were saying
I have
Wings
a
of Aoyamas.
timer switch.
Guys, huh?
Right, exactly. Or Akira, which Akira, great film, also came out in '88. So that's probably how Wings of Aoyamas just got like pushed to the sidelines because oh my god, Akira! And, oh my god, Raise the Fire.
Akira was a big, it was super popular. You know,
do not remake Akira. Do not remake Akira. I did not make an American version of Akira. No.
I'll be honest. I don't see the
remake anything you want.
I don't see.
I'm seriously, remake anything you want. The original film still exists.
Yeah.
If you don't want to have a remake, don't watch it.
Yeah, putting a DVD of Akira. Yeah. I got writing about Akira.
But I think Akira was also like based off of manga, so it's like there's a possibility that like they try to cram as much stuff from the manga as like cameos or references and stuff like that. And it's a kind of joke amongst anime fans. Oh, the manga is better. Have you read the manga? No, but that's what I've heard.
I assume it's better. Well, and Akira opened a lot of doors because Akira was so popular. I mean, a lot of people, I know a lot of people that Akira was the first anime film that they ever saw. So regardless of whether I think it's a great movie or not, like it's undeniably, it kicked in a lot of doors in the United States for people.
Influential.
Yeah.
Sorry, which movie was it again?
Akira.
And
AIRA?
I have read the manga and it isn't better. So screw all of you.
So fuck you.
Yeah, training only takes one montage. I got my gym membership for one montage.
Well, I mean, hi everybody.
No interruption this time from me, except for just now. Oh, I'm sorry, Steve. As a grandpa, who doesn't want Peter Falk as their grandfather or their relative and stuff like that?
Not if he grabs my cheek, you know.
Or he does the Columbo thing where he never lets you fall asleep. He keeps coming back in the room and going, "There's just one more thing." Grandpa, please let me. I'm so tired. Yeah, just one question.
It's a 400-page novel, Grandpa. We can space it out over more than one night.
Yeah, and he reads that entire book. How about just a chapter, Gramps? I'm really sick.
I'm very tired.
I just want to sleep. I took some NyQuil. I'm good.
Is it a kissing book?
Oh, there's nothing but kissing for the whole thing, kid. You're gonna love it.
Is that why there's Fabio on the cover?
It's called the best erotic fiction 1987. Here, check it out.
Hey, Geek. Dumb question. I got triggered on this because of all the quoting, because I find this eminently quotable. Are you aware of the transcribed adventures of Nick Danger? Fire Sign Theater. You see,
I know Fire Sign Theater. Yeah.
He had another one, but he vanished mysteriously along with the servants. They were very attached to each other. Where are the wrists and ankles?
Cape Madman, and he throws an engine at somebody, and the guy, he's like, "Oh, you lunatic! You threw an engine at me! You caved in my skull! What the hell is wrong with you?"
What the hell is wrong with him? He caves in his skull and he can still talk.
Yeah, that's his final words.
Okay,
it's his final words.
It's weird that you phrase that the guy you co-host Theater of the Chef with, as opposed to a guy.
How dare you? How dare you? Look, you know what? That's Pierre's fault. If he had shown up for a show, I might have thought to include him.
I heard about this Pierre guy, but like I never seen him and stuff like that. I'm wondering. I mean, I'm sure he's a great guy if he shows up on time.
Does he have his own channel? You never like to it.
Pierre is a chef.
We got the idea. Yeah, something about the header on the video.
Pierre's a chef. Yeah, he holds it up to the camera for a second, and if you freeze frame it, you can read the note that he's written, and it is hilarious. He's like Pierre saying, and Gordon Ramsay wasn't even there. Captive for days, and he says complaint is, and Gordon Ramsay wasn't even there.
That almost sounds like you 12 years to slave Pierre.
Oh,
hey Matthew,
he got out.
Your sound looks great. This sounds great, Matthew. By the way,
that's good. Thank you.
He didn't have to stay for 12 years. They released him.
So you 12 days to slave.
He was 12 days a slave. Yeah.
God. Do you negotiate the slave contract then that way?
It is entertaining when sometimes I'll see like an early America picture, and finally you'll get one that doesn't tone down the racism.
Oh yeah.
Actually, there was a couple of video games like that too, and I remember, okay, they got black people, Chinese. Okay, who else have they missed? I come around the corner, and there's a sign on the wall that says "No Irish beyond this point," and I'm like, there we go.
Oh wow. Historical authenticity. Yeah, it's confusing.
But Jews have all the money and power. Why aren't they truly white?
That's the part that doesn't make sense. If Jews are the ones that are completely in control, why didn't they set up all the categories? And why aren't they like on top of the pyramid? It makes no sense.
Yeah, we somehow managed to be racist against our own race. That's just...
Well, it's your problems are their problems, but their problems are also their problems.
Yeah. Exactly.
We didn't have any problems until these people come around. I know why are they here?
We didn't have any problems until we invaded these people's countries and kidnapped them and brought them to our countries.
Oh, funny thing, because before they invaded this country, they still had plenty of problems.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody noticed.
There's no way that there's a system that both disadvantages poor white people and minorities.
Oh my goodness.
Don't look at that. Don't look at that.
My attitude is like, well, if a white person and a black person get together and have a baby, that the net effect is downward. So basically, he says, wouldn't that mean that white genes were weaker?
Nice.
That's what we're really afraid of. That's what we're really
That
afraid
is awesome.
Nice burn. Technically, it's no more, one is stronger than the other, one is stronger than the other when you say yellow and blue make green.
Right.
Yeah.
You mix them together, you get something different.
So you're saying that green is genetically inferior?
That's hilarious.
Well, here's something.
And honestly,
then he actually tweeted flipping should be illegal.
Cooperating with law enforcement should be illegal.
Did he really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
He said that.
He said it. He didn't just tweet it. He said it on television.
Yeah, he said it on
I'm all
television.
about this flipping stuff, and it's interesting because he said it almost should be illegal.
Who knows more about bad finance than him?
Yeah.
I can't believe. But would that translate into anything useful to the American public?
Oh, yes, because all we have to do is not do what he's done before.
Oh, there you
Okay, good. Yes.
And we've been successful.
Yeah, which is right up there with expecting him to act presidential.
No, he's new presidential.
Yeah.
I am new presidential.
And you.
He's unprecedented.
Unprecedented.
This entire administration is unprecedented.
Actually, I would put it this way: he's not new. He's not new presidential. He's ew presidential.
Yeah, ew.
Yeah.
No, actually,
But
what happens is when he's finally kicked out of office, then he is unprecedented.
Yes. I would love for him to be unprecedented.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. A friend of mine said the other day. He goes, "As bad as things have gotten, he almost wishes that Thanos was real."
Trump would be in the surviving half, though. That's our fucking luck.
Oh no! Yeah.
That's our fucking luck. He would snap his fingers, and like you would look around, and I'm still here, and then Pence crumbles to dust, but Trump is there. Like, God damn it.
Hey, that would still be an improvement.
Snap it again, Thanos. Come on, just snap that fucker again.
One more time.
I'll take my chances.
Oh, who were my favorites? I forgot the guy's name, but his wife was Rexella.
Oh, Jack Van Impe.
Yes!
Jack Van Impe. And you know what? It's so cool. It's so weird that you mentioned him because I was what is that?
He sounds like a Disney villain.
I mentioned Jack Van Impe. I mentioned Jack Van Impe, and this demonic sound just starts. No, but he's still
Cannot be named Upton unless you have like pinky rings.
Yeah.
And a top hat.
And the last name of Sinclair.
And hey, I have a top hat. I can be called Upton today, something like that.
Actually, some random geek looks kind of Uptonish right now. I mean, it's a very. If you were playing a character named Upton, I'd be like, yeah, absolutely.
Hello, I am Upton. I am the cyberpunk robot captain of this ship and stuff like that. How are you doing?
I love that you would refer to yourself as the cyberpunk robot captain.
Hey, well, Little Arno has messaged me, and she mentioned to me how I have a great hat and stuff like that, and I look like a steampunk cyborg.
You do. Also, doesn't the name Upton sound like you would refer to yourself in the third person?
Oh,
yes.
Always.
Why not? It's okay for Upton to refer to himself in Upton in past tenses.
It just made me think of like if there was like if Mr. Spock introduced himself to someone as "Hello, I'm Spock from Star Trek." He wouldn't say that.
It's me. Upton believes that Upton is a perfectly fine name, and that Upton would feel weird using a pronoun.
There are no pronouns that suit.
We Uptons don't use pronouns.
If I ever met Tim Russ, I would be like yeah, he played Tuvok on Voyager.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be bringing that up to him. I would say, hey, you're the We Ain't Found Shit guy from Spaceballs.
I'm sure he would love that.
Yes.
The problem is it's getting to be that way. I mean, AT&T just tried to buy what? Time Warner? And I think, is that going through or isn't it? Because I haven't kept up with it.
I can't remember if Trump is happy or sad about it.
I'm trying to think whether I give a shit whether Trump is happy or sad about it.
Well, hey there, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm here with some of my Patreon patrons, as I always am once a month. So
and the dog,
and a dog, and a cat, and a truly magnificent mustache, my friend. I haven't complimented it on you.
Thank you. Welcome, embrace the mighty hash.
Yeah, I've been wearing a mustache since the 70s, and nobody said boo about it. Crying out loud.
The new baby gets all the attention.
Unfortunately, with the fedora as well, I look just like the rationals that H-Bomb made fun of in one old.
Oh my god! Yes.
No, you must take it back now.
Say it.
I'm rational.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking of shaving mine off just because, like, everyone has one now.
That would take that, you know.
Fedora, everyone has one now. No, this is a trivial. It's not a fedora. A trivial.
Billy.
You know, but Joe, that's. I mean, I first I had to get used to Alex Trebek without a mustache, which took years. And then my father-in-law, who had a mustache for as long as I had known him since I was a kid, shaved his mustache. I had to get used to that. Now, if you shave yours, that's another one that I don't think I can handle this much change. I'm a white guy. I can't handle this much change. He's like the kind of a guy, like if he's not looking where he's going and he sits down on the couch and sits on the cat and kills it, he'll be like, "Oh, I meant to do that. I hated that cat."
No, not the cat.
The cat committed suicide.
Why'd we even have a cat? I don't like cats. Media in other countries. Like, what are you? Do you really think the BBC is that invested in lying and making shit up about the American president?
Well, yes.
Well, the funny thing is, the whole
idea of what quote normal feels like to a given situation and how to move that normal. That normal is the Overton window, and what we have to do, plain and simple, is move the Overton window very slowly, very surely, but very methodically to the left.
Agreed. But if there's a possibility, I can yank it over to the left. But that's the thing. I want
to tell you real quick.
That's.
Yeah, the problem is the Overton window doesn't move that quickly,
Right.
and if you want to move it that quickly, say you want a revolution.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Listen.
Yeah,
no.
Anarchist.
I want to address what you.
It's the little red hen model. You know, everybody wants to eat the bread, but nobody wants to help bake it. I mean, it's simplistic, but tell me it's not on point.
No, I'm willing to help to bake the bread. I read The Conquest of Bread by Peter Kropotkin.
But Joe, we've talked. I know
you are the absolute epitome of bread.
Well, I've seen The Dark Knight. Batman, the second Chris Nolan movie, where they told the Joker to go fuck himself and they threw the bomb out the window. I say we throw the Trump out a window.
Well, Batman can try. Batman can try to save it, but miss. Oops, sorry.
Okay, what if you throw your hands up and become a cannibal instead of doing that?
Time talking to right-wing extremists and bigots and people who just want to kill everybody. What if we take that idea of let's be open to other ideas and other viewpoints
and devour them, cannibalism,
and talk?
Unless you Mitt Romney with $14 million.
Oh, Mitt Romney. Isn't it awful that things have gotten so bad that people are actually looking at Mitt Romney and thinking, he wasn't so bad.
Well, a broken record twice a day.
Like, at least he wasn't openly racist. Yeah, true.
He was a functional adult.
He was a functional adult.
I retweeted something. He's like, wait a minute. I retweeted Mitt Romney. What is the world coming to? Well, it was Charlottesville, so that's what happened. That's what caused me to retweet.
Steve, it's even worse than that. When you get nostalgia about W.
Oh, God.
There you go. I mean,
remember,
there is nostalgia about W.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
of course, we spent the entire time arguing about capitalism and socialism.
Yeah, exactly.
Increase the size of the pie!
So if it looks like fun and if you like what I do on YouTube, you can go to patreon.com/Steve Shives to help out. And obviously, all of you who are here with me today, thank you so much for being patrons and thank you so much for hanging out with me and making this such a fun way to spend an hour. And
this was fun. I guess so. I enjoyed myself.
I know. Wait, who don't like pie? Come on. I mean,
pie geek.
I don't care if
I prefer cake.
I don't care if you're a capitalist or a communist or whatever you are. If you don't like a piece of pie every once in a while, what was that?
The cake is a lie, though.
The cake is a lie.
Capitalism is a lie.
If you don't like a piece of pie every once in a while, I don't know what to say to you.
No, I had to put him in his kennel. He was getting a little too excited.
John isn't migrating from place to place.
Now we get that. It's the one
John
man caravan. The one man caravan.
And now we're live.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, look at that kitty. Hang on, let me put you on. There we go. Oh my goodness.
This is the newest edition.
Coming down. They're staging a revolt against you now.
Who the cat?
These fucking cats are taking over the internet. This is a people show. This isn't a cat show.
Yeah.
Actually says, "Are you sure it's okay for her to lay on that like that?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's probably okay." She's spread out over a large enough surface area. I think it's not gonna.
You're fat.
No, I'm saying my camera bag is large enough. I would never call her fat. I would call her chonky. I believe that is the proper terminology.
I'm not familiar with that one. I know the 6 stages of fatness according to Gabriel Iglesias: big, healthy, chubby, fluffy. Damn! And then the 6th one, oh hell no!
Yeah, I think I've
Actually, the last category is my 600-pound life.
They're making a show about you.
Hell no.
Well, thankfully, I'm shy of that. Not by a lot.
By a considerable degree, I hope, Joe.
Not as considerable as one would hope. But,
On Facebook, I mentioned something about you can be anti-Nazi without being anti-Semitism, and someone was like, "Are the Jews really all that oppressed?" I'm just like,
oh God!
I know. We've all encountered that anti-Nazi, but not necessarily pro-Jew sort of mindset that's in the left.
But a lot of the people who say those things don't even consciously realize that they're pushing anti-Semitic narratives. But then when you point that out to them and say, well, you probably shouldn't say that because you're just sort of furthering a narrative that was started by some really awful people. A lot of times they get defensive about it instead of saying, oh shit, thanks for telling me.
I know all the best Jews.
Oh yeah,
political masturbation.
Yeah. Oh, these fucking undecided voters. How can you? Every 2 years, everybody starts paying attention to the undecided voters, like a week before the election. And I always think, what the fuck does it take to make you have to make a decision? Yeah. Why are we turning to you guys every year that there's an election?
Also punch Nazis.
Who are trying to pull the we just have to agree to disagree and we have to be civil and we have to have debates. And we're not arguing over which is better, Star Trek or Star Wars, right? If you cut people out of your life for
need to die,
besides, we know it's Babylon 5 anyway.
There's always contrarians like Joe who are like Babylon 5 because they won't pick a side and they ruin it for everybody. No, they need even more. They're in Kansas, for God's sake.
Well, fucking yeah.
We should give them something just for having to live there.
And I would attest them, and I would say, well, you were happy with this justification before. Why,
You took him out of context.
Someone was sharing of like an imaginary conversation between them and Thomas Jefferson, where they were saying, look, Mr. Jefferson, I know it probably made perfect sense in the 1780s when you all were drafting the Constitution, but today, it doesn't seem fair that, people who live in sparsely populated states have the same number of senators as people who live in states like California that have 40 million people. And then Jefferson's...
How many people live in California?
Jefferson's response is, first, he spits out the tea that was made for him by a slave, which I thought was a nice detail. And then he's like, 40 million people live where? You can't imagine. 40 million people? What are you talking about?
Well, they vote for a third party.
Yeah.
There's always that.
Hey, Jill Stein is relevant and cares.
Wait. He's still doing a recount. 1, 12, 2, in Florida.
She's still doing the recount.
So I can understand being my age and being jaded by the whole thing. But like people in their early 20s, I'm like, dude, what the fuck do you have to be jaded about? You just got here.
You just wait.
If you're jaded now, you're never gonna make it to 50.
Things are gonna get so much worse.
Yeah, it's all the millennials' fault, right?
Joe, I am an elder millennial. I was born in 1980, so I'm one of the old millennials. I'm either super young Gen X or super old millennial, and I can pick and choose. Like when you're born on the boundary of a zodiac sign. I can be what Gen. Yeah, exactly.
Pick a side, Steve. Come on.
I can be whatever I want.
Get radicalized.
No, don't pick it. You can choose multiple sides. I like on the gender spectrum. It's a spectrum, just like
I'm on the generational spectrum.
He's on the generational cohort spectrum.
All generations matter, huh?
There's good people on all sides.
That was the cat's chair. You stole the cat's chair. I'm enjoying watching that.
I who are involved in the political process give me a great deal of hope.
Yeah.
I wish there was a larger group, but the people who are younger than me, who are doing way more than I am currently doing as just a dipshit who makes YouTube videos to push things forward and fight for people's rights. Like I take great inspiration from them.
Yeah.
For sure.
Hey, at least Steve, you at least make YouTube videos. I haven't done that in 4 weeks.
Well, and that's real quick, Steve, and that's actually
please let's not make that the standard.
Yeah, I do feel bad. about the need.
What have you done for me lately, some random guy?
You don't even make YouTube videos.
I do feel bad about the need to make it.
And the most adorable baby in the world. No disrespect to any other babies, but Thomas's
Baby
kid is
opening
like.
argument.
Oh, Steve. Jeez, look at this face.
Hey, by
I
the
am
way,
looking at that face.
You're
and I'm
not
trying
baby
to
opening.
throw up.
you're not baby opening arguments. Don't even try.
Jeez, Steve, you just triggered me. Do you remember the first family, Warren Meader, and the things that the shtick that they used to do about the Kennedys? Did you ever hear any?
I've heard of. I might have heard a little bit of it a while ago. Yeah, but I'm not super familiar with it.
Next Tuesday is election day. Go to the polls and vote. Vote for the Kennedy of your choice, but vote.
Vote for the Kennedy of your choice. There you go. Thanks for watching, everybody. Go vote.
Just, there are more of us than there are of you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
You can either answer the question or you can get fried in the media.
Yeah.
Although I'd love to see him argue that there are indeed more of him.
I have clones. There are clones of me. You don't know about that, but they are clones. Ask anybody here. There are clones.
I have the best cloning facilities.
They're the best clones.
It's for my protection.
By the way, Steve,
You asked for this, guys. When do they send in the clones?
Lauren, the town hall is a trailer in a highway section. Next to the garage where they keep the snow plows.
Oh my God.
This is rural ass Wisconsin. There are no buses running out there.
That isn't rural. That's rustic.
I thought my hometown was bad for having our town hall in an old bank. Hey, they vacated the bank. Let's put the town hall in there.
I would say I would buy them a "fuck Trump" shirt and send them to school, and see if they get sanctioned or not. Because if they do, I'd be like, "Well, what about free speech, huh?"
Right? No. Naughty language is bad.
See if you
Sig Heils is not bad because Jews.
Whereupon you make the shirt truck thump.
Truck thump.
That will work. That will work.
See if you can. Reminds me of there was a famous baseball card in the '80s of Billy Ripken, Cal Ripken's less known, less talented younger brother, who. Not a knock on Billy. He was a Major League Baseball player, which is something I'll never do, but he wasn't Cal. And there was a famous baseball card of him where he was holding his bat and you could see the bottom of the knob of his bat and he had wrote the F word on it. And some sanctioned editor at Topps Baseball Cards will let that go through, and that card actually exists where you can see Billy Ripken smiling with his bat and it says "fuck" on the end of his bat. It's like a collector's item now.
There's no gentrification.
Well, anything that I'm part of is definitely not gentrified. So,
and by the way, John, you just put a link in the chat. It was "fuck face" that he said on his bat, not just "fuck." It said the bat actually said "fuck face" on it. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's important that he knew which one was his.
Where's my bat? It's the one that says "fuck face."
I'm sure that's what happened in the dugout. That's what happened in the dugout.
My bat. It's my lucky bat.
The bat boy probably wrote that. This is fuck face's bat. Thinks he's Cal's brother. He thinks he's somebody.
Yeah, as opposed to Roy Harbs. What's the name of his bat? Wonder Boy. What's the name of his bat? Fuckface.
Give me fuck face. I'm batting cleanup. I need fuck face. Yeah.
By the way, Lauren. Series of Batman. You remember that series of Batman comics where Robin, with no explanation, just disappeared, and in his place was just a bat boy who was just a bat boy?
You go all gushy. Yeah, he's a national treasure. He's like our Stephen Fry, but not old and cranky yet.
Hey, there's not wrong with old and cranky, right, Lord?
Damn Skippy.
Just Stephen Fry. Just Stephen Fry was the old cranky one here. I wasn't generalizing to older men, guys. Like, I'm not talking about y'all. I'm not talking about y'all.
No, what the hell's wrong with old cranky people?
But Christy, I embrace it though. That's okay. So it's okay.
But hashtag not all old men.
Yeah, exactly.
Cranky, what the hell about it? Like Keith Lowell Jensen says, he has a bit in one of his stand-up routines about it where he says, the people who say, well, my parents hit me and I turned out okay. Well, maybe I want to aim for something better than me.
I think a related idea is saying that you turned out fine. A related idea is if you're raised Catholic, the trick to being raised Catholic is, while you are raised Catholic, you know that something is wrong. The trick is to figure out that it's not you.
That's beautifully put.
I love my dad. I'm not sure if he would, because like if I come out as like non-binary male plus, so he hims my pronouns, he'll be fine. He will still love me and stuff like that. I'm not sure how it would take to me being a narco-communist though. How about you be like,
I've done that, but
and I can tell you can feel that way with other types of disabilities as well. Like I live with a severe hearing impairment, and it took me a long time to actually embrace that it was a disability. But it absolutely is. Like there are a lot of jobs I cannot apply for, and I recently went to a job placement agency that specialized in helping people with disabilities, and that was like I was finally at that moment where like, yeah, this is a disability. It hampers my life severely.
Well, and that's what.
If I can use my own example, I'm on the autism spectrum, and I wasn't diagnosed until I was late 20s, and before that, I had just thought that I was a weirdo and felt really down on myself, and I developed a lot of sophisticated affectations to try to make my outside match my inside. It was really helpful to learn that I was autistic. But as soon as I did, I had to develop a whole new protocol for letting people know. And in the beginning, what I usually got was, "Oh, I think you're doing fine," which was kind of invalidating.
Sorry, go ahead.
Essentially, it's just like I don't know when I'm not smiling, and people will think that I look irritated when I'm not. I'm happy. I wanted to laugh at your joke, but my face isn't doing what my brain is, and it doesn't occur to me that you can't read my brain, etc. You just have to learn to read me. That's all that I have to tell people.
But, see, now Chris has learned that he's a wonderful and terrific weirdo.
Yeah. Hey, nothing wrong with being weird.
Hey, I'm fucking weird.
I mean, I am the guy wearing a Boba Fett fez, wearing a t-shirt saying advocates for the corrupt ideas of the postmodern neo-Marxists. And so,
wow.
And I'm an anime fan too, so it's like nothing wrong with being an anime fan at all.
Any tights today?
One quickie little thing
I actually have a skirt on.
Hey.
But also I do have the tights and stuff like that. It's Batman.
Well, you always have the tights.
Nice. That's some classy shit right there, buddy.
Really great article. It's from a little person, and she said, "I am not your inspiration."
Yeah.
Her point was like, stop. Okay, I cope. I have some challenges. I cope with them. Yes, there's some disabilities because she has some problems with her legs. But you know what? I don't want you to denigrate me, but don't also put me up on a pedestal either, because that's also just as fucked up. That's also another form of ableism too. Yeah. So just treat me like everyone else. And yes, you might need to make some accommodations for me. And I think, and that's reasonable. And just other than that, but it is important to notice things like that hey, there are people doing good stuff.
And after a while, it's like I've kind of grown numb to that sort of blank reassurance people give me over various things.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it'll be all right. It'll just keep trying. I'm like, I've been trying for like 10 years now, and it hasn't improved anything.
Well, the other thing too against me is like, and I didn't think this way before, but I think actually Jen Peoples, I got to thank her because she's very vociferous about certain things. Is like when somebody is, like I said, you're dealing with an issue and you're just venting, because you're just trying to deal with it and process it, and sometimes you just need to vent. Yeah. And people will come in and they have all these suggestions, and she's like, "I didn't ask any of you fuckers for advice." Not one word of a request for information. All I said was, "Here's how I'm feeling."
Yeah.
So everyone was giving advice. Thanks, but no. Cut off a while back, but I don't hate them. And then she started like, "Oh, and you can do this, and here's some sources." And I'm like, and then I was like, "Yeah, I don't remember asking for advice." Anyone who's fat and cares about the fact that they're fat knows the nutrition. They know that certain things are bad for them and certain things are better. It's not a matter of knowledge; it's a matter of having some issue. Like Meg was saying before about my emotional problems. Like for me, food's an emotional crutch, and that's something very hard to change. So yeah, it's not that I don't know that certain things are bad for me or eating too much is bad for me. So it's really just condescending when you say, "Oh well, just eat less." Really? Thanks. Figure that out yourself.
Hey, have you tried drowning less? That might help.
Yeah. Don't breathe in the water. Hey, don't breathe in the water. He's going to drown. He's not listening to me. In the room with me, of course. I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving.
I did. I got drunk.
That sounds great to me.
My stepmother makes sure I get drunk.
Here, we're going to get you drunk, sweetie. So
it's like, ooh, let's celebrate because this is the day that we think the baby was born that was going to grow up to be a human sacrifice to a bloodthirsty god. Happy New Year!
Yeah, we won't mention the fact that
let's celebrate it was him. Let's celebrate that it was him and not us. Thankfully, we didn't have to do that shit. God demanded a bloody sacrifice, and it wasn't me. Yay!
Yeah, I seen that movie. I seen Jesus Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah, it was bloody as hell.
He sacrificed himself to himself. From himself to a situation he himself created in the first place. I mean, you get dizzy from that kind of circular logic. I mean, I would.
I know. Okay, no. There's going to be one great big sacrifice. Don't worry, I'll provide it to myself.
Okay,
it'll be me.
okay, but we still hate gays, right? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I want a full album of just Toby Benson songs.
I came like, funny enough, in the middle of the night, I came up with an idea that I would really like to execute in the long term, which is basically a musical where the main character is the only one that realizes it's a musical, and they keep thinking it's their cue, but when they try to sing, the orchestra stops. And everybody looks at them weird. What are you doing?
It also reminds me of the character in Monty Python and the Holy Grail who keeps trying to break into song, and they constantly keep cutting him off. No.
I actually turned it into a joke on stage too. I described the premise, and then after I say every time they try to sing, the music stops and everyone looks at them weird, and that's what it's like to have autism.
I had a fantastic Christmas Eve followed by a odd Christmas where I had to work in a place where I had to supervise people who were not allowed to leave and see their families for Christmas. So,
yeah, that sounds like fun.
Not completely, but it's my job.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, it sounds really, really cool. And when you made those videos about it a couple years ago, it just was like, oh man, that looks so awesome.
Well, come and visit.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just hop a plane to Germany.
Hey, she came to see you.
Not specifically, but it just happened to work out. She had other business in the country, but
they're usually open.
It was cool.
They're open from like the 24th of November until Christmas Eve. And so you could, before the Christmas holidays, get a cheaper flight and just come by, and there's a bed for you and your wife can stay here. And yes, I mean.
Oh, right. You should bring your wife with.
Yes. Please come to Europe. It's a great place. Experience it once at least.
Let the people meet some more nice Americans.
Yeah.
Rehabilitate our national image abroad. Hey, we're not all assholes, please. Blah blah. And it's like, okay, but I mean, ever since the Second World War, most of Europe has gotten along pretty well, despite their many differences in language and culture, etc.
They have 450 million people.
Yeah, it's almost like if you make an effort It's not. It's incredibly possible. You know.
Marty M just said in the chat, the UK says to Steve, "Hold my beer." There's still some outliers, but yeah.
Fingers crossed that the UK can sort that out.
Are the British really Europeans?
Not no more. I mean, they did the Brexit thing.
You know, I think the thing that screws that up is, I mean, Europe decided that it was a separate continent, even though it's totally not. Like Europe and Asia, that's all one continent, baby. You know?
That's really weird. That's
but
an
they just,
line.
but the Europeans drew the maps and they were like, yeah, we're our own thing. Yeah, and it doesn't make sense. Just forget it. We're our own continent. And so now
it's almost like national borders are just invisible imaginary lines on a map.
Well, yeah, especially in, I mean, I guess you could, because there are land connections between Asia and Africa as well. But it's like, yeah, but it's just a little bit. So Africa is mostly its own thing, but like Europe is just right. It's completely connected.
Smack up against it.
It's smack up against Asia, and it's like, yeah, but it's its own thing. Really, I can just see us trying to explain that to the aliens. The aliens show up and they're like, so you say there's 7 continents? Because 1, 2, 3. Oh no, that one's 2.
Yeah, but first you're going to have to explain Donald Trump to them.
Oh boy.
Well, no, you just go, oh, okay, so you see there's white people, and white people need their own continent.
Yeah.
So we have to kind of like carve one out.
And they say they control the world too.
People in Asia. Yeah.
What I'd love to see is alien race showing up, talking to Donald Trump for like 5 minutes, and then one of them pulls out a TV remote and just mutes him, and then they say, "Can we get something?"
Who else? Come on. What other elected leaders do you people have? Anybody else?
Show me what you got.
I just want a mute button for Trump because I'm certain that would make him explode.
He has to read. I would like for a court to rule that he must read every reply.
Ooh, Clockwork Orange.
Those are your constituents, Mr. President. You must read every reply.
The only constituents he hears from are the federal workers who call him to tell him to keep the government shut down until he gets the wall, apparently. I don't know who these federal workers are or how they got his number.
Those very real and numerous people who hypnotize him to do.
Something with X in it.
You will now click like a chicken.
Something with X in it. I will say that.
You will now convince Chris Pine to sign on for another Star Trek movie.
Yes.
Dream on.
Please.
We can do better. In my opinion, we can do better.
Better than Chris Pine.
Oh, this is gonna get real.
I don't care. I mean, I've grown up. I think he's a really good. I think he's a really good Captain Kirk, and I would like. As a person who likes the new Star Trek movies, I would like to get at least one more out of this cast. It would be a shame if they only did 3.
Yeah. We have to recast Chekhov anyway, sadly, because the actor did they had an unfortunate accident, and so might as well recast Chris Pine, in my opinion, too. But that's me.
Well, just put Chris Pratt in there and see if anybody notices.
Or Chris Hensley. Just any Chris.
He's one of the Chris's. Chris Evans. He's not. He's probably stepping away from Captain America after this next one. So let him. Hey, you want to be Captain Kirk? Goes from Captain America to Captain Kirk.
Every time have a Captain Kirk with charisma again.
Chris Evans. Chris Evans as well.
No, Chris Hemsworth.
Just every time or is Captain Kirk. Now there's a picture for you.
He played his dad already, so there'll be a resemblance.
Just every time it cuts back to him, it's a different Chris.
The most famous, Chris Christopherson.
But everybody keeps treating him like 35-year-old Captain Kirk. It'll be great.
That hair, though, man. That hair.
Yeah.
Gag me.
Just wait until like 5 series after Discovery where they come up with an explanation for why the Klingons look different in that. That's one of the frustrating things about Boise as a comedy audience. They will come out for big names, even though they're not at all funny, like Pauly Shore.
Yeah.
And just crowd the club. And when Pauly Shore was at the club that I go, or the comedy club that I go to, a woman in the audience in the front, he at one point grabbed the back of her head and like shook his hips as if he was simulating oral sex.
Swell. Classy.
And he got really, really drunk, and he made he pulled a waitress on stage and forced a kiss upon her, and she ended up crying. So,
whoa,
screw that guy.
That answers my question.
Yeah.
That answers my question of what's Pauly Shore's stand-up act like. There we go.
It's basically just blah blah blah, something about weasel.
Oh god, it's like and it was on Hulu, so I don't even think I didn't even finish it. Like I didn't even watch the whole thing. I watched like the first 10 minutes, and
you watched The Room how many times?
The Room, hey, I'll watch The Room now. Okay, I'll watch The Room right now.
Mm-hmm. And it's like I heard this guy was bitching behind me, and I listened carefully, and he was going, "Hi Hitler, yeah, hi Hitler," and I had to rewind and. Did you say hi, Hitler? This guy actually thinks that just thousands of people were going, oh, hi, Hitler.
Hi, Hitler. Look, everybody. Look who it is. Hey.
It's
I know
Hitler.
That guy. I know that guy. Well, because, you know, in that, you watch those archival films, whenever Hitler would do it back, he would always go, how you doing? Heil Hitler. Hi.
I'm getting so worked up. He was going, yeah, hi, all right.
Yeah, guys, I see you. God. It's too bad Indiana Jones didn't kill him when he had that chance in Last Crusade.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he should have.
Yeah.
He got his autograph. He should have grabbed that pen and stuck it right in his eye. Come on, Indy. Whose side are you on, man?
Now interrupt and like recommend a anime, and I'm going to quickly screen share now because in theaters next month, January 28th and 31st, it's a movie called The Silent Voice. The movie, because it's based off of a manga. It's one of my favorite animated movies in the past 5 years, and so as a big recommendation for me, if you're able to see it, if it's in the theater or near you, this movie made me cry. I mean, I love this movie so much. I think it's better than Your Name, and that's high praise for me.
Hey, my name.
My first name is my grandfather's middle name, and he named himself because his parents couldn't settle on a name whenever he was born.
Wow, that's a great story.
Yeah.
All right, can't pick a
his
name.
birth certificate said little boy.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's indecisive.
Yep.
Yeah, you couldn't pick a name.
So, if anyone knows anything about Louisiana history, Huey Long, the very tyrannical governor, So my grandparents are Longs, but not those Longs. And his father wanted to name him Huey, and his mother said, "Over my dead body, you're not naming him after that piece of trash." So they on the birth certificate they wrote "Little Boy Long." And when he went to college and joined the army, they said you can't be named Little Boy. You have to come up with a name before we admit you. So come back tomorrow.
Holy shit! Yeah, that's a great story.
That is the best thing.
That's a great story. So,
his first name Leonard was his father's best friend, but Bowman, my name, was a drunk guy down the road because you couldn't find another name would be. So I'm named after a drunk stranger down the road.
That's fantastic. That's like the best name story I've ever heard.
It's great.
Wow.
I can't wait. 20 years from now, your father's going to say, "Wait, you believed that?"
No, dude, that wasn't true.
Well, everyone who knows the truth is dead by now, so it's the truth now. So.
It's the truth. You can't prove it. That's a great.
A lie that everyone believes. A lie that everyone believes is as good as the truth, I guess.
Yeah.
Right, Kafka?
Lepetime and his fantastical farts is what the article is named.
Can you imagine his parents? What does your son do?
He's very famous.
Well, he's a musician.
He is an author of the wind.
Yeah. It's there you go. That's